anything yet.
Or theater,
We're planning on each part records themselves, and then the teacher will edit together a whole compilation of the parts into a full-on production. And theaters and the drama department is planning on running a scene-by-scene show or showcase where each student will either do a monologue or a scene somehow over online. We're still trying to finalize what the full-on production of that's going to look like. But that's what the departments that I'm with are planning on doing for.
Nice.
Thank
Ian,
you.
Ian,
Yeah.
Derek here. Can you
Hi.
speak? Can you speak briefly to? I'm just curious how your connection with Stafford is going.
So my connection with Rutland and Stafford, so all the programs are still doing online classes. We meet daily, and we'll go over the same content that we would if we were at Stafford. I can only speak for engineering. I don't personally know how programs like power mechanics and welding are doing this, but for engineering, we are just doing all the classwork that we would just from home. It's a bit of a disappointment not being able to do the hands-on with the machinery, but we'll do what we can do.
Yeah, digital tech stuff would probably be easier.
Yeah, we can do all the programs and things.
It's actually kind of amazing that they're doing a CNC program or a CNC section, and they actually can program a CNC on the computer, and then the computer actually simulates what the machine would do as they run through the code or the software that they program. So it's pretty neat.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
And I, as a mom, just want to say, if anybody has not checked out his article from OV, Student of the Week, check him out. It was a really good article. And I want to thank Jim for putting that in there. We really appreciate it.
Fabulous. Thank you, Ian.
Yeah, no problem.
Thank you, Ian. Okay, so we're going to move on to Superintendent's Report.
Not much is happening, like Ian said. So again, welcome to Nikki. And we've already had way too much discussion about virtual meetings. We'll get this figured out. Lex and I will meet tomorrow and figure out. Tonight was totally unexpected, but we'll get it figured out. I did give you information about the Otter Valley front entrance bids, and we'll talk about it in a couple minutes. We have Brenda and Jim with us. Brenda, I think, keeps disappearing, but she'll be back. We do have, and so I gave you quite a bit of information in there. Again, I won't spend time now because it's on the agenda in a little bit. The COVID-19 planning, you have a full report on that. Negotiations update, the teachers are meeting with the board negotiation team next Wednesday. The paras and bus drivers are meeting next Tuesday. So it's nice that that's moving forward. And I'll keep that report brief, I think, for right now, because the meaty stuff comes later.
Okay, any questions for Jean? Okay, hearing none, we're going to move to the Executive Limitation Monitoring Report, which is our COVID-19 report. Can I get someone to make a motion to accept the COVID-19 report?
So moved.
Second.
Awesome.
Derek?
Discussion? Do you want to talk about it, Jean?
Well, it's quite lengthy. I said in the last meeting that I think it's going in my my memory box for when someday I write about flipping a school system under COVID-19. But it was, and actually, Jim, I need to send it to the principals because you haven't even seen it yet. It's about 7 pages long. But hopefully it really was a good exercise to both capture what we've done in the last month. It's only been a month. and then to walk through the different policies and see the impact on the different policies. One of the most concerning impacts that all of the administrators have shared was the lack of equity of instruction or access to instruction for our students, because we have 24% of our students still not able to access the internet. And we have handed out Chromebooks. That's not the issue. It's the fact that we are not the e-state that one governor promised we would be. And as many of you keep getting dropped off these meetings know, that's very true. So that's probably our biggest concern. Folks are working really, really hard. Principals, teachers, paras are supporting the work of the teachers or delivering meals. Custodians, our bus drivers, paraeducators, food service, admin assistants. It's absolutely very amazing what's been done in the past month. So you have the report. Do you want me to take any questions?
Yeah, if people have any, absolutely.
Well, this is Barbara, and allow me to comment again on how impressive this effort has been, and to commend you all and thank you all for the amazing work you've done. I noticed one of the things in the report is that meals are now going out, or have been going out or will be going out for weekends as well.
Starting on the 24th. Yep, the Friday we come back.
So that's wonderful. Could you speak a little bit about how that came to be? Because that's great news.
Sure. I will. Give me 1 second to find a plug.
Sure.
Oh, here it is. Apparently I talk a lot because I've used up all my battery. Brenda has overseen this program, and it's been a lot of work and phenomenal. We were feeding kids within 2 days of school closure. We started out, and Jim Avery, we're feeding it out of his school, he's on, he's been manning it at the school along with Rich Bigu. And yes, Brenda is on the phone. Yes, Brenda, you can jump in and answer the question.
Hi, I think
Good.
Hi, everyone. I'm not really sure what your question is, Barbara. The program is also covered with a daily meal program, so it is free to families.
And
the Abbey group will be.
How are we moving to weekend meals, and maybe also talk about the homeless and how many we're serving of our kids?
Sure. So we are moving to weekend meals next Friday, the 24th. What we will be doing is delivering a second bus route. So we'll do our normal Monday through Friday deliveries just as normal. And on Friday, all of the drivers and the paraeducators will do a second route to deliver the weekend meals. The weekend meals will be prepared and prepped and processed at the Neshabie Elementary School. The Abbey group has been fabulous to deal with. They've been so helpful and accommodating. The Agency of Education reached out to us beginning of last week, late last week, yesterday, I honestly can't remember when, and asked if we might be able to help feed some homeless families in Rutland County. Really, there's only one in Brandon, and we're already taking care of them. So we said, we talked to the Abbey group, and we're going to try to coordinate with the agency an opportunity to provide services for them. We said we can't do the delivery because now the staff are manpower and we are not kind of going out of our district. But the Agency of Education is working on volunteers to do the delivery. So we will be basically a fiscal agent where the Abbey will bill us, we will pay the Abbey, and then invoice the state to feed 125 homeless adults and 35 homeless children in hotels in Rutland Town and Rutland City. And that will be hopefully starting. We're still working on the fine details, but that will open up the Lothrop kitchen, and that, the Abbey staff will staff that program as well.
Thank you. That's wonderful. And Brenda, my question was really just to get you to speak a bit more about it, because it's so impressive and so crucial. And I voiced my appreciation and amazement at the hard work that's gone into it. So thank you so much.
Yeah, that's awesome. I second that.
Yeah, we are feeding 746 students today.
Wow.
That's amazing. Thank you.
So I'm on the phone. I'm going to try to get back in the other way because I don't know how to mute this again. So I'll be
Okay.
right back.
All right. Any other questions on the COVID-19 report?
Jean, a couple of comments.
Yeah.
I'm impressed with the report. There's a lot that's been done in a really short period of time, and I thank you for your leadership, not only in our district but around the state. And you're involved with a lot of leadership efforts. But I'm concerned about the fundamental impossibility of what we're trying to do, and the notion that homes are not really reliable or equal sites for education is kind of troubling.
Yes.
And our learning activities, or the learning that's going on, is going to depend on a fragile chain of overstressed parents and caregivers and kids and teachers, and creating conditions where the learning is possible is just a huge challenge. And going forward, I'm concerned about how the whole idea of 2020 being a productive year, graduation standards, admission standards, accreditation agency, everybody's going to have to adjust to make it clear that no one's going to be held to something less because of this this hit in our productivity on 2020. I think most learning is not really linear, and a lot of it can be made up. But thinking in a big picture that the virus is likely to come back in waves and mini waves, and even with vaccines and treatments. And when it does, we're going to need to quickly shut down schools and businesses in affected areas to control these outbreaks. And we need to design these resilient and flexible systems and have them ready to go. And this is the time to design and build those flexible systems. And none of that can happen on the fly, as much as you've done a great job on the fly. But these things are going to come to us and come at us again. And I'm wondering if there's forward planning taking place on the superintendent's level, on the agency level.
Very good questions. On the first part that you talked about, how this is going to have a significant impact, the one, maybe it's not reassuring, but it might help to know that it's, oh, good, Bill, you found us. It might help to know that that's across the entire country. So in other words, our kids are not disadvantaged differently than the entire country. That doesn't feel really good for this year's seniors, but it's a reality. As we move into the continuation of learning, or continuity of learning phase, which comes right after this week, then yes, we are starting to turn conversations to, so what does this mean next year? There are so many unknowns. Do we open in August? That's not really known. Like you just said, if we open in August, do we close in October? That's not really known. With more time, can we do a better job? The state is collecting information on, like, down to the house, apparently, on what kids don't have broadband access. And I think that you're going to see a lot of infrastructure improvement across the state. Our teachers did not have years of professional development on how to move to online learning. We're not going to be able to cram that in over the summer either. So we're going to learn a lot from lessons this fall. We're going to do, I think our teachers are doing a phenomenal job, but we also don't know how much is too much and how much is not enough work yet. I mean, until you do it. I'm trying to gather some feedback from parents now on that. It is an evolution. If we end up, as you said, and I suspect, closed again for part of the fall, or all of the fall, or whatever it is next year, we will do the best that we can for our kids, and we will continue to learn and grow from what our lessons are now. And it still won't be perfect. And I think regardless, education is going to look very different from now on. Not an answer for you, just yes, it's very much on my mind and the minds of others, of other leaders.
Yeah, I just want to be, I want to be encouraged that this forward planning is taking place, because it's going to be real challenging, and these are exciting times.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Welcome. Any other questions on COVID-19?
So hearing no more questions for Jean, at this time, we should probably vote. So all those in favor of accepting the COVID-19 report, please signify by saying aye.
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 Aye,
Oh, yeah, last meeting, yeah, thumbs up if, Kevin, are you an aye?
I am.
Okay, Barry,
Aye.
Becky,
Aye.
who is 12? Whose phone number ends in 12? Can the person whose phone number ends in 12 unmute? *6, somebody said will unmute you.
Is that Bill?
No, he's down below. Maybe he's both places. Okay, got to move on, I guess.
Okay, well, I didn't hear it. I think we had enough yeses, so the motion, the acceptance is approved.
Okay.
Moving on to our next topic, it's the motion to request additional funds for the Otter Valley front entrance construction. Can I get someone to read the motion and then we can talk about it?
So moved. This is Barbara.
Second, this is Greg.
Okay, and just to, so everyone knows, the motion is, for those who can't read it, the OVUU board authorizes the administration to spend an additional $125,000 for a total construction cost of $650,000 from the Otter Valley Unified Union Facility Fund to complete the Otter Valley Union High School front entrance. Discussion?
You also will eventually next need to accept the motion of the low bid. Is there any concern about continuing with the project? Brenda and Jim are both on the phone if you have questions.
Lori, just one question.
Well,
or-
can we review it instead of just assuming everybody knows what's going on?
Well, it's in my report.
I know, but not everybody is in the public is reading your report.
Okay, so you want to speak to it? Brenda, do you want to just give us an update so that anybody watching this recording has a full picture?
Sure, this is Brenda. So a little bit of the backstory, just in case people might not know this. The Otter Valley Board in December approved money to repair and replace the front entrance of Otter Valley Union High School. The board approved $520,000. We contracted with architect NBS, and they put out bid documents. We had 5 bidders. They came in. The low bid was Naylor and Breen. And when we looked at the low bid and we looked at what we were asking to do and the priorities, we found that to do everything that was outlined as the initial priority would require an additional $125,000. In December, one of the things the board asked us to do was to seek a alternative bid or an addendum to the bid to consider the additional cost to finish off the entranceway, including a office area for the SRO or security services and a waiting area for other people to kind of limit the access to the building. So we did do that, and that is reflected in this additional request for $125,000. That additional cost is about $42,000 after you consider the bid from Naylor and Green, which was the lowest plus architectural and engineering fees. You know, the bids were very comparable. I don't know if they're included in this document or not. We anticipated one of the questions you might ask was, what would that, if we did that, what would that mean to our reserve? Am I going too fast? Should I slow down?
Is everyone feel okay?
Yeah, that's good.
Seems
Yeah.
okay. Keep going.
Okay. So, as you recall, before merger, many of our school districts brought in reserves that were specific to their school. Otter Valley was one of them. Union High School was one of them. We did some renovations this summer, the 88 bathroom repairs, and then we committed the 525 to the front entrance. So we've exhausted all of the Otter Valley Union High School carryover fund pre-merger and consolidation, and would be going into the Otter Valley Unified Union Facility Fund, the amount available for all districts. That fund began this fiscal year with $1.5 million. We are proposing the 279 was the amount that the board that you committed for in December. The other half of the 525. You had committed some summer projects in 2009 that have been done, about 188,000. So the balance for this proposal is $1,041,000. This additional proposal would bring you just under, just around 900,000, 916,000.
Thank you, Brenda.
Thank you, Brenda. There was a lot of good information. You know, the details were there in the board packet, and I, for one, support going forward with this.
Does anybody else have anything they would like to ask Brenda or discuss at this time?
Lori, I suggest a full roll call when you get to this vote.
Yep, that sounds like a plan. So, and not hearing it. Oh, go ahead,
Kevin.
Kevin.
Yeah, thanks. We're shortly going to have a discussion about the fiscal outlook for the future, and I was wondering if we need to consider that when we, before we have this vote and approve this.
I can give an opinion on that. You're asking to spend money from your reserve fund, which the community has already created for this purpose.
Okay.
Therefore, this money cannot be used for anything else unless you went back to the community and asked them to change that purpose of the reserve fund. So despite the conversation we need to have about next year's funds, this money is specifically approved by the voters for facilities work and only facilities work, capital construction.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, anybody else have any questions for Brenda or for Jim? Jean? Okay, hearing none, we'll go ahead and vote. Jean, since you probably have a list of everyone, do you want to go ahead and do the roll call, please?
Sure. Okay, Barbara?
Approve.
Bonnie?
Approved.
Kevin?
Aye.
Bonnie Chmielewski?
Approved.
Derek?
Approved.
Greg?
Approve.
Bill?
Abstain.
Nikki?
Aye.
Mike?
Aye.
Becky?
Aye.
Barry?
Approve.
Angela?
Aye.
Congratulations.
Okay, that's great. Well, then we are moving ahead with the front entrance to Otter Valley.
That's wonderful. Now, could we ask you to accept the low bid of Naylor and Breen and award the general contract to them, including the additional costs for the interior offices and the entryway? Which you just
Okay, so we need someone to make that motion.
So moved.
So
that
moved.
was Angela,
That would be
and then
me.
Derek.
Okay, is there any discussion?
How many bids did you get? Worse than Brenda.
You have a copy of the bids in the packet. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bids.
5 bids. One person chose not to bid.
Right. So 6. Yeah, that's correct.
One
Thank
is
you.
Naylor and Breen, and we have really good. So I'm happy.
Jim, did you want to make a comment?
No, I was just saying we had 5 bids.
Oh, I saw you waving.
No, I was just saying we had five bids. And thank you.
Okay, so at this point, hearing no other discussion regarding accepting a bid, let's do a roll call again.
Okay, Angela. This is for accepting the low bid. Angela.
Aye.
Barbara.
Aye.
Bonnie Bourne.
Aye.
Bonnie Chmielewski.
Aye.
Becky.
Aye.
Barry.
Aye.
You guys have a lot of B's. Kevin.
Aye.
Derek.
Aye.
Greg.
Aye.
Bill.
Aye.
Nikki.
Aye.
Mike.
Aye.
I think that's it. Yep.
Okay, so the ayes have it. Thank you. Thank you very much. It's great to see a local company also get to be doing the work on our buildings. So I think that'll look really good to our constituency and our taxpayers. Okay, so our next item is to approve, it's the first reading of our policy DDA, apportionment of expenses. So can I get someone to make that motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Okay. Discussion. Dean, do you want to discuss
Yeah.
why we're doing this?
Yes. You may recall at budget time this year that we had a significant amount of difficulty getting the Agency of Education to give us accurate ADM numbers. We actually still don't have them. So our policy, we have to figure out at budget time how the different districts are going to be apportioned. And so we'd like to update our policy with a drop dead date of whatever number we have on December 31st is what we will budget from. We always adjust, but we need, if the agency isn't going to give us the final numbers, we need a drop dead date. So we're asking you to update the policy to give us a date by which we will use the numbers, the best numbers that we have.
Jean, other than the date, other than changing the date, what are the implications to that? Are there any really?
No.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Hi, it's Brenda again. I just want to add that very often what you're really talking about is the split in the difference between what Barstow pays and what Otter Valley pays, and it is usually negligible.
Okay, is there any more discussion? Oh, Bonnie, go ahead.
No, I'm fine.
Okay, so is there any more discussion regarding this policy? Hearing none, I would like to go to vote. All of those that approve this, please signify by saying aye or waving or whatever.
Thumbs up so we get a visual.
Okay.
And I'll call on the folks I don't see. Bill, what's your vote?
I'm trying to figure out what happened to my OV board package, to tell you the truth.
It's an email from Karen Hill, if that helps.
Okay, I will look for that.
Okay, Mike, what's your vote? I can't see you if you have a thumb up. I can't tell.
It's yes.
Okay, Becky?
Yes.
Barry?
Approve.
Bonnie Bourne?
Yes.
Okay, Mike, just so you know, you have this beautiful halo around you, which is why I can't see.
Rightfully so.
I know. Bill, any luck, or do you want to pass at this point?
I'll pass.
Okay.
Okay, so we've approved our first reading. We will look at this again at our next, well, it won't be at our next meeting. We have to wait 30 days. So we'll be at our May 20th meeting.
Actually, it's an RNESU. So RNESU just did first reading, so it'll go back to RNESU in May if Barstow also approves it. You don't need to see it again.
Oh, awesome. Okay, great. So it looks like we've done everything on our agenda. Does anybody have anything else they want to talk about before we move on?
I'm going to do another lesson learned as we do this virtual thing. I'm talking with Alexis tomorrow to figure out how to not have what happened tonight happen again. And so I will say that for your next board meeting, the afternoon of the meeting, I will send out a reminder email with what I believe to be the correct link and the link to the packet. So you have them both in an email in front of you that day. Would that be helpful? Then you don't have to go back and search. Okay. And hopefully we'll get this virtual thing figured out.
Well, for me, I just go to the calendar, go into the email.
And that should work, but tonight it didn't because, yeah, tonight it didn't, but it will work again. But that is what I'd like you to do, Angela. It really is go to the calendar and accept the calendar invite. Yeah.
Yeah, easier for me.
This is Barry. Can I just add something?
Sure.
I want to commend Jean. I think that communication you did, Jean, that came out in today's Reporter was excellent. It was a tremendous job, really setting people aware of going into the next chapter and what's moving forward. Great job on communications with that article.
Thank you. I haven't read it yet.
Hey, Jean, I can't tell you how it works because it's beyond my tech skills, but if you check with your tech folks, the district I work, White River Valley, when we hold these meetings, I just go to meet.google.com, and on the sidebar, it shows all the meetings I've been invited to, and I just click Rutland Northeast Supervisory Union, 6 o'clock, and it takes me right to it.
Thank you. That's another way of reaching it.
That just may be something to ask the tech folks to set up.
Lori, I talked with Rutland
Yes, ma'am.
Northeast. I talked with Rutland Northeast, but not the Otter Valley Board. Well, I guess we touched on it with Derek, but the financial. Do you have any financial questions?
Yeah, I was gonna ask you to talk about that since we did talk about it at the RNESU level tonight about what's going to happen moving forward.
So I had sent you all a couple of articles, and I will send out a link to a presentation by the joint fiscal folks last Thursday. As of last Thursday, it is anticipated that the education fund in the state of Vermont is in an $89 million deficit. To be honest, it's anticipated to be a $129 million deficit, but they had a $36 million fund balance and a $13 million surplus, which now are eaten up for that deficit. And so there's about an $89 million anticipated deficit at the moment, which is going to continue to get worse as the economy gets worse. Bottom line is we are fine for 2020. The final round of taxes to be collected is in April. Our monies come from the ed fund through our municipalities who collect the taxes and then send the money on. It's anticipated that that will go smoothly. However, there is significant concern about a lack of cash flow at the start of the school year, and we may need to ask the board for borrowing ability. And the reason for that is there is discussion in the legislature about postponing the tax collection this summer, and if that happens, it means there's no money. So we would need to borrow for cash flow. But the bigger problem is the deficit in the ed fund and how that's going to be made up. There is an understanding that the state will get funds from the CARES stimulus package and probably future stimulus packages. It is unknown to what extent that deficit will be made up with stimulus funds. There's a lot that is unknown. What is very clear to us is that next year's budget process is going to be very difficult and look very different. And so just like Derek's question, are we looking ahead at how we're educating kids? That has to be figured into the mix as well. What staff will we have to educate kids? I don't have any solutions for you, but I want to make sure that you're informed as I'm getting informed. You know, we're in a situation with COVID-19 anyway, where the sky always seems to be falling, but we will get through. We might not figure out virtual meetings, but we'll get through this whole thing and educate our kids. And but I think we're going to have some tough decisions to make along the way. Brenda and I we're still doing the transfer to the new e-finance system. So I can't tell you exactly our status right now in our spending, but I have confidence that we're in the plus. We have identified areas that we're not spending. For example, substitutes is one area that we're not spending for the last quarter of the year on. So there are areas where we basically are not spending in the budget, and most of our expenses thus far are within our budget. So I believe that we're going to end up ahead with a surplus. I can't say how much. I'd like to, at least I believe we're not going to end up with a deficit. I'm much stronger that way. By next meeting, I hope to have a much better picture of that for you. But I just wanted you to be aware that we're heading into some very, and not just us, not just Vermont either. We're heading into some very difficult waters ahead.
Jean, this is Barry. Do you think that the ed fund deficit is due to a lag in revenue or a loss of revenue?
I think it's going to be both, Barry. I think the lag in revenue is probably not really felt yet, but the loss in revenue, like today they just posted revenue from sales, is is significantly down in the state. There is a loss in revenue with the statewide shutdown.
Okay.
Is there any other questions for Jean? Hearing none, the only other thing I wanted to point out that I mentioned at our meeting was that if we do have a surplus, our normal course of action is to take that money and put it into our facilities fund and put it into our after school program. We may really want to think hard and long about maybe putting that money towards our budget for next year. So just keep that in the back of your mind. We don't need to make any decisions tonight, but we should be thinking about that. Let's see. Is there anything else? Does anybody else have anything to say at this point?
Thank you for your patience. I really appreciate it.
Well, and Jean, we should also
stay healthy.
Yeah, we should definitely say a big thank you to you and your administration for everything that's been going on. I know it's been a little hard for us all at home with the kids. Your guidance has been really helpful.
Oh, I forgot to ask, Jean, have we had any cases in our district?
Oh, I am not aware of any student or staff cases at this time. We have had 3 people under testing, which so far has turned out to be negative.
That's good news.
Cool. Okay, so our next meeting is set for Wednesday, May 6th at 6 o'clock. At that time, we'll still be online, so look for the emails and the links. Hopefully, we'll have this all figured out. And we do not need executive session tonight. So at this point, I would be willing to take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, we are adjourned at 7:12. If you all say yes.
Take care, stay healthy.
Stay healthy, everyone.